Standardized testing is stressful for most high school students. The SAT and ACT play a major piece in determining what college you go to. This kind of testing skyrocketed in '02 when the No Child Left Behind Act was mandated. This act forced for all 50 states to have annual standardized testing. The SAT is averagely scored as 1070 out of 1600. And the SAT is also scored differently than most tests. An average score for the ACT is 20.8 out of 36. In terms of an amazing score, it's always dependent on the school you want to go to.
How do standardized test scores affect students? I know it brings fear, stress, all of that sort of stuff. But how they affect students going forward in terms of not only college admissions, higher scores just means more options. Standardized test scores don't mean you're smart, dumb, or anything else. They just mean, depending on what you score, it depends on the options. It also talks about placement for English and math. And again, in your junior classes, you actually had a IPoly representative who came and talked about how that works. You score certain things on standardized tests like the SBAC and CASP and other sorts of things. And colleges are now using that for placement rather than assessment tests. So if you haven't taken, say, an English or math class, whether it's through dual enrollment or others that already kind of knock out that freshman English requirement in college, the way that you do on these standardized tests also will indicate your placement in math and English classes in college.
I would take a lot of practice tests so you get a feel of what the test is like, but taking an environment like you were taking the actual test, and to do a lot of practice with the time frame you're allotted. So in my class, that's what I have them do. I give them a certain amount of questions and give them a lot of time for the amount of questions so they get the feel and they time and see what kind of questions they ask on both tests.
One of the biggest things that I think people can do to do better on standardized tests and to prepare for them is the first and foremost is to stay and be informed. As you get emails from the school, whether it's people like myself or Mr. Anapol, access to information is key. With the upcoming ACT boot camps and things that we're offering like that, most high schools, none that I know of, offer anything like that. And again, for our students, it's an opportunity that we have based on various funding and things that we have, and so we thought that would be one of the best ways to help serve our students. Some of you, as juniors again, already taking advantage of some of the college classes, in particular some of the MountSAT classes, the English class in particular. I have data that suggests that people who have taken that English 1A class have done much better on the writing portion of the SAT than those students who have not. I would also suggest too some of the ways to prepare. I know in both your junior English and math classes with Mr. Estrada and Ms. Pellegrini, I know they do starters for practice problems and things like that.
We go over researching for college, explaining how it's not always just about grades and your test scores and getting into college. Researching schools, looking beyond what they normally look at and looking at what they require so they could achieve whatever they want to go for. Looking at scholarships so they can prepare for senior year and start applying.
For both, I guess, mostly the math, I feel like I'm definitely not ready yet, so I'm taking the time to study more because I'm taking my test in June.
I felt that the PSAT was fairly easy for me because I have taken PSAT prep courses and I basically prepared for all the stuff on it.
I'm planning on taking classes and I'm getting tutoring my uncles and aunts because they're teachers.
I just study when I can.
How?
I just study.
How?
How do you study?
I read a book.
What kind of book?
An SAT book.